What's up, everybody? Jason, Joe, and Kramer are here, coming at you with the finale. Two records left in our March Badness tournament. The Terrible Two. We've got Life, Love, and Hope by Boston up against Corey Feldman with Angelic to the Core. Two very bad albums, but which is worse? The fan vote is in. We have the results. Just a reminder for anybody new, the way it works, fan vote is worth 2 points and each of our votes is worth 1. We need to be unanimous to overturn the fan vote. Anything you want to say before we reveal the fan vote?
I mean, just a shout out to all 32 of the tournament participants. For the most part, you guys did a great job of just producing just quality 1-star albums. I mean, we all have our ones that we don't really feel like should have been on there. Personal choices like Bob Seger for me. But, I don't think any of these albums were good. So at least we got that right.
I thought you did say that Cut the Crap was really good.
That's true. I forgot about Cut the Crap, but I acknowledge the world hates it.
Yeah, as far as the original pool of 32 records, I don't mind the Bob Seger. I like the Elder by Kiss. There's some others that I don't think are absolutely garbage, but most of them are pretty bad.
Yeah, I think all of the decent albums lost in the first round. So I think as soon as we got through the 32 into the sweet, the stanky 16, it was a real crap fest. So it was a lot of fun to see all the matchups and the votes and which way the audience would go. So kudos all around for a well-played tournament.
So what is the result of the fan vote, Joe?
The fan vote, Ramser, Jason, went to Corey Feldman, 58% to 42%. So the people, they want Corey. They want their champion to be Corey Feldman's Angelic to the Core. So will we acquiesce or will we flip the results? I think I know what Jason's going to vote for as a noted Boston hater, but we'll see what everyone else goes with. Jason, your vote?
So the fan vote went exactly as I expected. Based on the previous round, the fans wanted Limp Bizkit in the final, and we overturned it, pushed Boston through, and the fans were heavily in favor of moving Corey Feldman into the final as well. Saw it coming, but I think it is incorrect. I think the Boston album is worse. I think it's worse on a lot of different levels. I think listening to the Corey Feldman, it's kind of like a fascinating kind of bad. And I don't know, the Boston one, I think it's also kind of fascinating, but it makes me kind of sad. It makes me kind of a little depressed that Boston could fall that far. It's confusing that it's that bad because you know what Tom Schultz is capable of. And then I just really think it is that bad. I think the mixing is worse than someone who actually has no idea how to make a record. I don't understand how the guitars are totally out of time with the drums. The guitars are super loud. They're way louder than they need to be. The whole thing's just a mess. The songwriting's bad. All these different vocalists are just total karaoke singers. I don't know, like where he's finding his talent or like where he's getting these singers from, but they are not good. It's just a disaster of a record. Corey Feldman's a disaster too, but I'm not just playing the card like Boston knows better or Boston should know better. I think that is the case, but I also think it's actually worse. So my vote's Boston.
Corey Feldman and Joe to the Core is awful. Life, Love, and Hope is awful. I agree with everything Joe and Jason said about Boston. And I agree with the audience that Corey Feldman is also terrible. It comes down to just what do I want to spend my time listening to more? I find the Boston one more interestingly bad than laughably bad. So I'm going to pick Corey Feldman, Angelic to the Core to win. Corey Feldman is the winner. Angelic to the Core is the worst album of all time. all time. It's close, very close, but I'm with the audience. It's just worse. Maybe the deciding factor is the album cover. Couldn't even get the parameters right, like we talked about before. At least Boston got an album cover of the proper dimensions. Corey Feldman tried really hard. I think you also have to remember that this is like his third album. Like he's been doing, so by this time, like he kind of should know a little better. And especially if you put on the live performances of some of the stuff on this album, it's just some of the worst theater and dancing you'll ever see in your life. So I got to put that over the edge. I'm sorry, Jason. I'm sorry, Boston. Boston, you really tried hard to win this tournament. You tried your damn best.
Yeah, I agree with you, Kramzer. I'm going against Jason. I'm going with the audience as the man of the people. I think what really sealed it for me is the fact that Corey Feldman this was his 5th album, 3rd solo, and he also had 2 releases as Corey Feldman's Truth Movement. So it's not just sort of like a lost actor trying, for something funny, something cute. Like he really thought he could be a musician and have a career and do something. So he gets no kind of sympathy points in that way. And it's also just incredibly long. Like it's an hour and a half of music. There's almost no way to get through the entire thing. Like I can get through the Boston. It's bad. It's a really bad album, but it's a brisk pace. It has at least like guitars and stuff. It's not half rap, half rock. Like there's no concept. Jason, you hate those concept albums, so you should really hate this one, dividing it up into a rock and a rap half. Whatever. I mean, Snoop Dogg's on it, so that's a point for Corey. But I think in general, the Feldman album is just too hard to get through. It's too long. You should know at least something by now. Boston's terrible. One of the worst releases by a major band. I don't know if it was on a major label at that point, probably not, but at some point, Boston was a legitimate diamond selling rock band. To come to this is very impressive in a terrible way. And we should all feel sorry for Tom, but not enough to supplant Corey Feldman. Worst album of all time, angelic to the core. Let's give it up for Mr. Feldman. Feldman, if you're watching, can we interview you? Do you want to come on our show?
I think another thing to think about is like if you were to go back at these albums and the songs, at least Boston has something that you can like work with to make it better. I don't think there's anything on Angelic to the Core. It's just a burn it, lost cause kind of deal. And like Joe said, his 5th album, none of the other ones, and I haven't listened to any of them straight through, but I have heard songs and heard performances from like all of them. And those are really bad too. So Feldman also should have known by now. Or someone should have known enough to stop him, and they didn't. So maybe it's not all on his shoulders, but there were no angels looking over him for this production.
All right, so that's it. That's the end of the tournament. Thanks everybody for watching, commenting, playing along. It was really fun and interesting to see what everyone thinks of these records and what makes albums bad to different people. And yeah, it was a neat experiment. I'm sure we'll do something like it again in the future, but the exact details of which we haven't exactly decided on. But yeah, thanks for playing. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the bell for notifications. Check the description for links to all of our social media accounts. And we will see you in the next one.